Hello everyone, my name is Adam Michael Anthony Simpson and you're watching my YouTube channel, Adam M.A. Simpson. Today we'll be speaking with Dominic Chang. Now what's interesting about Dominic Chang is that he not only studies theoretical physics, where he investigates, black holes of all things, but also we both come from the island of Jamaica and went to the same high school at Campion College in Kingston. So it's really cool that we go all the way back to the island. And here we talk about his journey to studying theoretical physics at Harvard. I hope you enjoy this episode. And also, please notice that I put the questions that Dominic answers in the description box below. So if you want to hear his answer to a specific question, you can click the time on that question and just go straight to that in the video if you don't have the time to watch the full episode. Although, I hope you watch the full episode because it helps me. So please enjoy. All right, so Dominic, please introduce yourself from as far back as you can remember, including high school days in Jamaica. Yeah, and your background.
Hi, my name is Dominic Chang. I'm a third-year PhD student at Harvard University in the physics department. I was born in Jamaica and raised in Jamaica. I did so in Jamaica you have two levels of schools before university. You have primary and secondary school. So I did primary school and secondary school in Jamaica. I actually went to the same high school as Adam.
Campion College.
Yeah, CC.
Yeah.
So for me, like I grew up. I remember not really liking fiction that much. Like I remember when I was young, I had these like children encyclopedias.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked them. I mean, a part of it is because they had a lot of pictures, but they also had a lot of facts. And I used to just try and memorize as many facts as possible. And I think this was kind of an important thing that got me into science. That got me introduced into science. I remember my mom was didn't like that too much because she really wanted me to get into fiction. She bought like a whole library of Nancy Drew books and Hardy books. I didn't like it.
That's funny.
Yeah, instead it was I kind of like to just reading encyclopedias more, just knowing random facts and doing things like that. And there are also other things that I remember seeing when I was young. Like there are like different superhero comics and superheroes that you see on TV. And I always like Spider-Man, and the reason I like Spider-Man is because even though he has a superpower, but everything in that universe is based around science. Like the organism that bit him is like a genetically engineered organism, or any solution he comes up with is some sort of technology. Even one of his superpowers is just like him shooting webs. That's just something that he cooked up in a chemistry lab.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that are always attracted me. I like the idea that I guess as humans we can kind of analyze the world.
Mm-hmm.
And learn from it and manipulate it and kind of make it and solve problems that we face in that way. Like we are able to change things much faster and much more readily because if we like put our minds to it and think about things. Yeah. So what I think when I was in prep school, so I would go to the science club there. Because I had an interest in science, and I remember we do a bunch of different experiments. I remember just simple experiments because you can't do anything too dangerous
around
children around. Yeah. Like I remember we do things like make a solar powered oven, and you do the thing like you make a volcano to make it go.
Yeah.
And you make little science like stands and displays for people. And even when I went to Campion, I still continued that. Like first club I joined was science club there. And I remember, and I always wanted to like start design, like doing experiments and things like that. And I was always learning extra science things on the side.
Yeah.
Eventually, when I did become president of the club, like I was just, because I was always reading about different things and different science news. I was just always ready to talk about it for the club. So it was kind of good, and I hope I had some sort of impact on people in that club to pursue STEM.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think so in Jamaica, when you coming up to the end of high school, you have to figure out what you're going to do. So a lot of people from Campion go to university. I think I saw a statistic on their website that said like 97% of the graduating class gone to university. But the thing is that like I guess there's somewhat of a stereotype in Jamaica that like if you go to university and become a doctor, engineer, or lawyer.
That traditional profession.
Yeah, so I thought for the longest time I was going to become a doctor, and it kind of makes sense because a lot of people are doing STEM classes in high school. The end goal is to go to med school, become a doctor, and just kind of fit the mold. But I think sometime near the end of sixth form, which is roughly 12th grade, equivalent to the US education system, I realized I didn't want to do medicine. Like I was like, I think if I ever had to like cut someone open, I would just
puke.
pass out. Just puke. So then I had to take like a quick pivot. At this time, I wasn't like 100% sure that I wanted to do physics yet. Like I knew I liked physics. I knew I sort of liked engineering, so I kind of picked a middle ground, and I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for biomedical engineering. So I applied for biomedical engineering. I went to Worcester Polytechnic Institute, WPI, and I think when I went there, because of either some scheduling conflicts and a combination of like classes that I had already taken at Campion, made it difficult to take the suggested courses in my first semester there. So I was like, okay, I have to take physics classes. It's a requirement. I'm just gonna go and sit in some physics classes. And I did that, and I just never left.
Love the physics classes.
Yeah, I just really like the physics classes. The way how it was there was pretty interesting. Like it's a lot of the theories are kind of built up from like very simple ideas, like some of them very simple philosophical ideas, and you just kind of write them down in a quantitative mathematical form, and you can argue so much. You can like say so much from just that, and that really grabbed me. And I guess like I should have seen that coming, because when I was in high school, I was always very interested by fundamental questions. Like I remember when we were learning light in physics. One of the things I would remember being confused about was so we learned that light was a wave, and then different colors
and
of
particulate.
Light. Particle. And different colors of light match a different frequency of that wave. But the thing about the way how you see light is that if you look on a computer screen, there's no orange light. There's only red, green, and blue, and it's mixed in certain like different combinations, and then you can do that combination to get orange. But the thing is that when you write down the wave equation for an orange light and the combination of red and blue that you see as orange, they're not the same. Like one is a sum of two different frequencies, and one is a single frequency. And I remember being very confused by that. And I think most people, when I was talking to them about this, they just kind of didn't pay me any attention, because it's not like a question that was going to come up on the exam or anything. Because we have a standardized exam we have to do. But I was always really interested in it, and because because no one gave me the answer, I would go on the internet and try to figure it out. Yeah, try and figure it out. And things like that. Just being I realized, because I always cared about where things came from, and I always like wanted to understand the fundamentals of those things, that physics was really the right fit for me. Yeah. And so going into my undergraduate and doing physics, then I had to kind of figure out what kind of physics I needed to do. Eventually, I just decided I liked black holes.
Well, there's a lot of research to be done.
Yeah, there's a lot of research to be done. It's interesting because black holes are one of those things where Einstein came up with general relativity in 1915, I believe, and only a year after did they figure out the first black hole solution. But for the longest time, people did not think they were real. Like, the thing about physics is that even though you have these equations, the equations aren't necessarily always true in every situation. That's why it's still a science. You can't just do math and be done with it. You have to test to see if your theory is correct. And the whole black hole solution was just so wacky that people didn't buy it at first. There was lots of arguments about whether such a thing could even exist. Well, now we know that it exists. In fact, we have images of them now.
Like the one in your background.
Yeah, the one in my background.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got really interested into black holes, and I started doing research initially on actually quantum gravity related research. So it's more specifically quantum field theory curve spacetimes. And at the time, I think there are these two-dimensional models for black holes that were really popular at the time. The reason for that is that, without getting too complicated, if you imagine like a sphere, like because it's symmetric, no matter how you rotate it, you can just pick a plane and do the calculation, and if you have a solution, you can just rotate it. It's kind of similar to that. Some of the degrees of freedom make it so that you can learn a lot about what you're doing from just a 2D model. Yeah. There are other reasons too. But anyway, at first I was learning about that thing, and I was learning about various different methods for calculating Hawking radiation. So
okay. I think the viewers are going to be like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, but I guess instead of getting into too much detail, it's just this theorized phenomena that black holes undergo if quantum mechanics and general relativity is true. And we know quantum mechanics is true, and we know general relativity is true. So that's like a prediction. We haven't observed it or anything.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, like it was kind of good doing this research. I was very lucky because no one in my undergrad did this research. I actually had to visit a professor at another undergraduate institution to be able to do this research. I guess like all that tenacity eventually paid off because I applied for graduate school and I got in. I remember it was very rough because the applications are very expensive. Yeah.
$100 for an application sometimes.
Yeah, that's per school too, and then you have to do GRE, and the GRE is a couple $100. Yeah. Too. Yeah, and so I remember at that time when I was graduating, I didn't know what to do because I really wanted to do physics. Like I really wanted to pursue academia, but at the same time, like money I could make. Yeah.
Yes.
So I basically so what I was planning to do is that I was going to apply to a few schools in my first year, and if that doesn't work out, I'd work for a year and then reapply. That was my plan. But even though I was planning to apply regardless, I was like, I'm just going to like put everything I have in this first application, because if I do a good job now, it'll make applying again later. So I get applying again later easier. Yeah. So I applied to 5 schools. Most people applied to a lot, like 13 or 20 or something on order. So I applied to 5 because that's basically how my budget was, and luckily I got in.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So now I'm here.
And one of the, or if not the best institution for physics in the world, right?
Yeah. I think we like to joke and say we're the best physics school on the east side of the Charles River.
That's funny. All right. Well, I'm going to go into the next question, which was, can you talk about your experience coming from small island of Jamaica. What was it like moving from Jamaica to the States and taking classes? Did you ever second guess your abilities? And when did you realize that you were unstoppable?
Yeah, coming from Jamaica to the States was kind of interesting because, I mean, so Jamaica is an English-speaking country.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of, I guess, American media in Jamaica. So growing up, when at the point when I had to go to America, so I thought, oh, it's not going to be too much of a big transition. Like, all that's going to happen is that people are going to look different. But no, the culture is much different. Yeah. And
socially different.
Socially different, and it differs from state to state too.
That too.
One of the big things that funny enough took me a long time to get used to was not wearing a uniform. So like in Jamaica, all the public schools you have to wear uniforms, but that's not
all
the case.
Schools.
Actually, yeah,
even private schools. Yeah.
Even some of the colleges used to have a uniform. I hear my college used to have a uniform.
Yeah, and I mean the med students have a uniform after a certain period.
Yeah.
So
that took me a little bit of time to get used to. The kind of just like the freedom of being able to wear whatever you want, and it doesn't sound like it would be weird, but for some reason it was. I think also people are very. So I guess like there's a lot of, I don't know what to call it, if like revere or something for the teachers, so you don't really backtalk the teachers in Jamaica.
Yes, that caught me off guard when I came to the States too. I completely agree. I just remembered that.
Yeah,
so the reference. Yeah.
That was so that took a little bit of getting used to, and it's good. I think it's good because everybody makes mistakes, and it's good. One thing that it ensures is that it makes sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, if you don't take, as long as you don't take it too far.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's good. And what happened a lot of the times is that if you ask a question or if you correct something, there are probably other people confused about it. So that was something that was good. Another thing that was kind of interesting is I feel like we got some of it, but not nearly enough. So there's a lot more focus on presentation skills in the US. So when I had to take classes that had group work or presentation, like I would be like, oh, you just do the work and present, it's fine. But no, you actually have to be good at selling what you're doing. To the teacher. There's a lot of focus on this in undergrad that I wasn't used to. Like a lot of talk about resume crafting and elevator pitches and things like that I had to get used to. That just was never mentioned to me before. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. And also the way how classes are, you have a little bit in my undergrad institution. You can just choose classes and take them however you want. You don't have a specific order to take them. I think getting used to that freedom was also difficult. Because in Jamaica, they basically just tell you to take classes when, and you just do it.
I agree. Yeah, that freedom is an adjustment, and that's when you realize you need to speak with your advisor. Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say to a young student in Jamaica, say a student at Campion or another institution in Jamaica, about dreams for their education? What would you say to them now after all your experiences, that is going to Worcester Polytechnic and partaking in research? I see here that leaving undergrad, you were inducted into Sigma Pi Sigma, a physics honor society, and you received numerous other rewards, including an undergraduate service award and outstanding undergraduate leadership. How have your prior experiences prepared you to accomplish all these things?
Yeah. So
a lot.
I think So I think when I came to the US, I was under the mindset like, oh, this is new place, new people. I'm just going to be the me that I always wanted to be, basically. So at that point, I started becoming more active in other things, and I started to actually grow a greater appreciation for things outside of STEM. I think if I were to tell someone or give someone advice who's dreaming about pursuing like any career or academia or anything, don't hyper focus too much. I think when I was in high school, there was this kind of tendency. In fact, the building was separated such that all the humanities people went to one side.
One side.
people got to the
That's so true.
I think Mr. Henry used to say, if you can't stand the kitchen, go to the other side of the building.
Gosh! Shout out to Mr. Henry.
Yeah, so I think it's good to have more breadth. I wish I spent more time like learning more history and doing more English literature and things like that, because it's not like those, even if you don't immediately use the knowledge, the skills from those things are transferable. Especially when it comes to writing and giving speeches or stuff like that. I mentioned earlier that people here get a lot more experience presenting. Like in Jamaica, you don't get as much. So if you do those classes, at least you get experience with writing things and like communicating with people.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Thank you for watching part 1 of this episode featuring Dominic Chang. Please like and subscribe and wait for part 2.